Hello, curious! Much has been said about Chapo Guzman as the boss of the Sinaloa Cartel and all the dirty business he was involved in. Today, we are going to present the other side of this former leader, the side of his heart, because after a while, you'll see that you can't deny that the Chapo had a heart capable of giving enough love, at least to his own. Joaquín Guzman Loera, who was and would continue to be, if he were not imprisoned, a fervent admirer of female beauty. How many women was the leader married to? How many children did he have with each one? And what about the thousands of adventures that the boss had? All of this and much more can be found out if you stay with me until the very end. But before we continue, don't forget to turn on the notifications and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another video. I told you that El Chapo was a serial lover, well known for having had several women and for having hired the services of many others. On one occasion, a criminologist, Monica Ramirez, even said that he was addicted to them. In spite of all that, he was known by 3 marriages, and now we are going to take a look at them. It was around 1977 when Chapo gave the first definitive yes before the altar, holding the hand of his beloved Maria Alejandrina Salazar Hernández. She was the only one with him before he became the leader of the Sinaloa, although she was not completely clean either, as her family was familiar with crime and illegal substance trafficking. From this beautiful couple and the fruit of their love, 4 children were born: Ivan, aka El Chapito, Jesus Alfredo, Alexandrina GL, and Caesar. Ivan, or El Chapito as he was nicknamed, is the one El Chapo feels the greatest weakness for, and that is why he was the one that taught him all the tricks that helped him become the most wanted illegal substance distributor in all of Mexico and the United States. In addition, he also inherited an empire of real estate, hotels, and many other businesses, among others. Jesus Alfredo was not clean either, and in 2018, after his father was finally captured by the DEA after several attempts from which he managed to escape from, his son was also included on the list of the 10 most wanted fugitives by the DEA, apparently for possession and distribution of illegal substances. Such a lovely family. Although he was separated from Alexandrina, there is one important detail that I will tell you about later, so be patient. Oh, and you remember that I told you that his wife was not clean either, right? Well, I mentioned that because in 2012, the United States included her on the list of people with whom is absolutely forbidden to do business. She had been singled out for participating in the Sinaloa Cartel's money laundering network. They always say it's good to have the same interests as your husband. Then, by the mid-80s, he would meet the lady that would soon call herself his second wife, Griselda Lopez Perez, although she called herself Carla Perez Royo. Griselda, or Carla as you like it, was also captured for her connection to the connection of trafficking of illegal substances, but she was only locked up for a whole day. Without much explanation, she was released, and here nothing was seen. Nothing happened, although it must have emphasized that she had the help of not 1, but 20 criminal lawyers who represented themselves as legal representatives of the Guzman Loera family. And although in the end there were no charges left against her, the US government is looking for her for the same issues for which she was initially arrested. With Griselda, he also had 4 children: Joaquín, Edgar, whom I will speak shortly, Ovidio, of whom I will also make some mention, and Griselda Guadalupe. Edgar then, and this we will refer to the series Narcos, a fiction based on reality, was already following in his father's footsteps. Due to a supposed internal error of the cartel, he was wounded 500 times and passed away in 2008. Ovidio was another one of Chapo's sons to make headlines, among other things because he was not only arrested for the same things that everyone in his family, they already knew about the distribution of magic dust. That's more of the same. What differentiates Ovidio from the rest is that he was arrested and then El Raton, as he's nicknamed, was released. Although Ovidio is wanted by the US authorities and has an arrest warrant for his extradition, he does have an arrest warrant in Mexico. That is why President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador let him go. Remembering his actions, he said his decision was the best since it would have unleashed a war in which hundreds of people would have lost their lives. But before I tell you about the current wife of the top boss, I'm going to tell you about his adventures and girlfriends, and that he had in the middle of his relationships with his already well-known wives. I already told you this man is addicted to female beauty. On one occasion, El Chapo fell in love with Blanca Estela Pena Garcia, a bank employee from Nayarit, with whom he attended a party to which both had been invited. He was so much in love with her, and this time I'm referring to a woman, there's no euphemism, and that from that small plane he threw hundreds of flowers for her. Despite his romantic attempts, Blanca did not want to get romantically involved with the criminal, and since she refused, the cartel boss did not like that at all. He locked her up and forced her to be with him. It is said that she also had children with El Chapo, all out of fear, and nobody would blame her. Then as time went by, the boss got tired and bored with this relationship, and finally they separated. It is also said that he did continue to pass on monthly payments for the 2 children he had with the woman. And continuing with the crush Joaquín had, in 1993 when Chapo was arrested, among the members of the group there was a woman, Maria del Rocio del Villar Bercera. And although at the time he was with Estella Lopez Garcia, it was assumed that Maria was his girlfriend, and she was not the only woman with a maximum security prison in El Moloya de Juarez. There, not only was Chapo locked up, but also many other criminals as dangerous or even more so than he was. Then, El Chapo was transferred to another maximum security prison, this time in Jalisco, and there he also met another prisoner. It should be made clear that according to the law, women should be in the women's prison, but in one way or another, he or someone else who he was in charge of making decisions had made that exception. It is there that he met Zulema Hernandez, and leaving behind poor Maria, not to mention Estella, who you've probably already forgotten by now, well, now Zulema was the love of his life, and he even promised that once they got out, they would resume their love life where they had left off. Unfortunately, his enemies had other plans, and when she was freed, they hurt her and eventually took her life. Apparently, she was left with Z marks on several parts of her body, which was supposed to have been a message from the Zetas cartel, enemies of the Sinaloa, which was led by Chapo. Before we get to the last of the Chapo wives, I have to tell you about the love letter relationship the boss had. I bet you didn't imagine him writing letters. Well, neither did I. It turns out that for his last years in prison in Mexico, Joaquín wrote love letters to Mexican government representative Lucero Guadalupe Sanchez. Although this romance only came to light recently, these two would have been romantically involved a long time ago. She had already been an accomplice to the Chapo's business, and even to have eloped once in his company. But coming back to how affectionate and romantic Chapo is in his letters, there is a phrase he used, and I quote, "To live without your words is such a solitude." A contemporary poet, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, with her, he also had children. In fact, he confirmed it in a letter where he says he's happy to know that both she, his love, and his son are well, safe and sound. In the letter, he also refers to the fact that another baby is on the way and that they would decide on the name together. In 2014, the congresswoman only had to confirm the romance she had with him, and she said that she had denied it before for fear of his enemies. In 2017, she was arrested at the border of Mexico with the United States for filing charges with the same dirty business that the leader of the Sinaloa Cartel was running. And finally, we come to the last of his wives, but by no means not the least important one, and she is Emma Colonel Aispuro. They met when she was just 17 years old and had been crowned the Queen of Coffee and Guava Festival. At the time, El Chapo was 52 years old, and he could not resist this teenagers much younger than him, so he put into action all of his seduction methods. The wedding took place only 1 year after they met in Durango, and it was a simple affair. And despite being married, in 2016 when El Chapo was captured and interrogated, he said that he was still married to his first wife, Maria Alejandrina Salazar Hernández, and also said that with Emma, they only had one night together. But he also claimed to be a farmer and a Catholic, so that is not something that we have to blindly believe. Although one of his daughters from his first marriage, Giselle, said that the only wife of the boss was her mother. However, Emma Coronel to this day claims to be the wife of Chapo, and with Emma they had two twins, Maria Joaquina and Amali Guadalupe. and are the only ones able to visit him in the extreme security prison where Joaquín Guzman is imprisoned. Counting the children in out of his marriages, El Chapo is said to have 21 children. So you can't say he didn't love. I mean, that's a joke. So curious, did you know about Chapo's official loves and adventures? Did you imagine him to be so romantic? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you again in the next video.